Okay. There. I think we're live now. Okay. So hello guys. Good evening. This is Jason Cappuccino, Sashes&Scripts, and welcome to our live session for this evening. Um, ano pala, bago tayo mag-start, I just wanted to say na I am using my laptop for the live ngayon, kaya medyo grainy and medyo low res a bit yung video quality. That is because I am sacrificing video quality over a better, better sound, better what do you call this? Better audio. Kasi if I were to choose between yung visual or yung audio, I think mas priority ko sa ngayon yung audio kasi marami ang nagko-complain na kahit naman maganda yung sound, maganda yung video, yung resolution ng video pero kung pangit yung audio, parang um, wala rin kwenta. So that's the reason why I'm using my laptop for this session. Later ko na lang siguro magsi-switch tayo sa phone if in case na mas prefer nyo yung phone simply because it has better video quality. Ayan, may mga nagpapa-attendance na. Hello, Hajiev. Kumusta? Good evening. Uh, Sabi ni Hajiev, good evening, sir. I love the silence of the lambs. You know what I mean, sir. Yeah, I do know what you mean. And ano pala, very iba yung pakiramdam ngayon kasi you can sense yung feeling na lahat tayo irita. And lahat tayo parang are up at arms with yung pageant na dumating. Ayan. I don't want them to sila ang bungad ng ating ng ating pa-live na session because honestly I'm just tired of giving them space. But you know what I mean, you know what Hajievs mean about, the silence. And I think it's a good thing. Sana lang masustain natin 'to. Kasi pagdating ng Miss International Miss ng local pageant next year, ayun, I'm sure meron at merong magpo-post about it. May mag-iingay about it. So there. Konting chichi lang with regards to yung what happened nitong nakarang araw. A lot of my colleagues in the pageant media na circle. Of course, because they don't want to, ayaw nilang kumalas doon sa relationship with the local organization kasi naiintindihan ko din naman na they might be needing yung connections na yon later on when they cover for Miss World Philippines or Miss Supranational Philippines. So naiintindihan ko na nagko-cover sila, but I also understand yung ways that and reasons kung bakit sila nag-cover. And yun na nga, some of them mentioned that they only posted on their IG stories na naglalako after 24 hours. Some of them posted na nag-disable ng mga comment na section. And then there are also other friends of ours na kinakrap yung mga may-ari ng pageant sa mga photos nila, and that they opted to focus on the girls themselves, to post about the girls themselves. Now, honestly, I don't think na pwede natin silang diktahan kung paano nila gagawin yung coverages nila. But, I do hope na, maging medyo lax lang muna tayo sandali with how they do their coverages. Kasi naiintindihan ko din naman na kabuhayan din nila yon. So, unlike tayo na we have a stable job na pinagkukuhanan natin ng pang araw-araw natin na budget and all. Some media rely heavily on their coverages for their finances. So sana maintindihan naman natin yon kasi kabuhayan din naman nila ang nakasalalay. So, and they don't want din naman na to cut ties with the org simply because they don't agree with yung politics nung bagong franchise. No, they don't agree with the owner of the new franchise. Ayun. Sandali lang. Kasi I got some notes na I haven't finished yet that I want to I actually want to discuss later on with regards to the Miss Earth na pageant and coverage. Habang I just jot the notes, can you help the channel by giving it a like, by subscribing, para dumami tayo dito sa community natin, which is now at around 4,100 something or nearing that number. So I'm really really thankful guys sa suporta na binigay nyo kasi yung growth ng channel from uh, April to at this point in time, it has been super massive. Ayan. Okay, so habang let's read some comments. Ayan, mga nagpapa-attendance. Hello, Bandy. Kumusta? Bandy says, good evening, sir. How was your coverage of Miss Earth candidates? I saw your reels of Miss Cuba and Colombia in your IG account. I am actually very much impressed with meeting the girls face to face. And I know na medyo biased yung coverage ko because I only targeted several specific girls, but I did observe yung, if I'm not mistaken, Echo and Fire Groups yata yung naka-over ko doon sa Spotlight PH, Spotlight Cosmetics PH by Ever Bilena na event. Ayan, binuo ko na para alam niyo yung yung event na yon. But I was able to observe, a number of mga observations, observe yung mga behavior nila on off screen. Ayan. And I will be discussing a little bit more on that later on kung sino yung ma-amor sa or ma-PR among the girls in person sa press ganyan. And sino yung talagang maganda in person. Okay? So Hajiev, back to Miss Earth. I love Korea, Cuba, and Palestine. I am kind of bummed na wala si Palestine sa sa mga girls na nagpunta sa Ever Bilena na event kasi I am really very very interested to look and see how she is in person. Yon. Again, si kay Bandy. The pics on the Ayala Mall is very bad omen of things to come, especially for the local franchise. Kinda. Ginusto nila yan eh. Problemahin na nila yan later on. Although I've heard na there are girls na who wants to join yung local pageant nila next year. I've heard one girl na parang confirmed na yata to join. Si Bandy, tawag ito, wag na nating pagtuunan masyado ng pansin yung pageant na yun kasi I just really gusto ko talaga maghugas na ng kamay about that, with that pageant. Okay, Hajiev, no, it's Travel Junkie. Travel Junkie, hello, good evening, welcome to the live stream. We are going to be talking in a bit yung ating mga observations with Miss Earth this year, plus yung mga girls that our favorites, kung sino yung mga girls na favorites natin for the title. And then we have Ace Evans. Hi Sir Jason, good evening here from Santorini. Oh, that's one of my bucket list places na gustong mapuntahan. I remember you mentioned Greece is one of your bucket list. Yes. Best time to visit Greece is spring and winter time, less tourist and cheaper. Yung spring and winter, anong months yun dito? Anong mga months yun? Let me know please on the comments on the chat box kasi parang interesting na bumisita dyan. Okay, Ace. Balik tayo kay Ace. Sabi niya, what can you say about ALV focusing on the that other franchise next year? Ito ang Chichi. I've heard na possibly Miss World, yung international na pageant nila, will be coming in at around September of next year. So kapag nangyari yun, parang there's a possibility na walang Miss World Philippines na pageant next year. Kasi kung ang late ang mangyayari yung pageant, so parang what's the point na hahanap sila ng isasali nila for Miss World for 2024. Diba? So, yun. I'm not sure, chismis pa lang yan, but if it happens, totoo nga na ganun nga na mangyayari siya like later pa of the next year, parang may sense kung bakit ang focus nila is yung Supra at saka yung bago nilang local franchise. Rodvin Fiel. Hello sir, late ako konti, dinner time na po. Rodvin, don't worry kasi kaumpisa pa lang naman natin. PYR or Peer, good evening. What can you say about Kosovo and Bolivia? These girls are underrated. More power. Bolivia, I believe, looks very gorgeous in person. Kaya lang napapayatan ako masyado sa mukha ni Bolivia in person. I don't know. Kosovo is really gorgeous in person. Yun ang masasabi ko talaga na tawag nito na mas mukha siyang maganda in person. She actually reminds me of an actress, of a Latina actress that I can't remember the name. But anyway, when I saw her, talagang wala siyang budol. Very model-esque yung mukha, yung proportions ng katawan. Not very beauty queen though yung beauty niya, pero very pang rampa, kumbaga. Ramsey, hello sir. Mukhang need ng local org na mag-work ng double time para merong umaten sa event nila. Obviously, na walang amor ang Pinoy. I agree for the new pageant, the ALV. Trabahuin nila yon. And sa totoo lang, sana medyo matuto ang mga Pinoy fans to be more discerning when it comes to the pageants that they support. Kasi I have been very vocal throughout the years about how very narrow are our chances na hindi tayo papananalunin ng pageant na to. So with the new owners, perhaps, tingin ko naman, baka para lang ligawan tayo or para lang bumalik ang amor natin sa kanya, baka i-corona tayo bigla, di ba? So, malay natin. Who knows, that might happen. Ayan. So, si Bandy. Wait lang. Si Bandy na ba? O si Hajiev muna pala. Another thing, sir, what was that controversy with Miss Earth Bulgaria? Parang overblown na. Basta ako, solid Korea, Cuba, and Palestine. Honestly, I haven't paid attention to Bulgaria. Kasi, hindi naman winnable si ate. Pasensya na. I don't think naman na isa siya doon sa mga pag-uusapan natin when it comes to yung crown. Kaya I haven't followed kung ano yung mga rants or ano yung mga issues surrounding her. And I think it's best that we focus our energies on the more winnable candidates. Sa mga candidates na sa tingin natin may fighting chance na pumorona this year. And I agree with your selection. Actually, yung mga tatlong nabanggit mo, nandoon siya sa listahan ko ng ng 6 o 7 na girls na tingin ko pwedeng kumorona. Okay, sige. Unahin na muna natin itong mga comments para we can move forward kasi kapag nag-start na ako doon sa mga point, there are actually 2 points that I really want to take into account in today's live stream, and that's yung observations with the Miss Earth pageant this year and yung mga favorite candidates ko for the title. So, unahin na muna natin ng comments and then we'll jump in directly after that. Okay. Let's go to Bandy. Sir Jason, just an observation. Looks like humahataw ang mga male candidates ng Pilipinas this year with Jovi Bequillo, John Ernest Tanting, and Christian de los Reyes. Ba de los Santos? I think de los Santos siya. Hindi siya de los Reyes. Let me check. I think it's de los Santos. Nasaan na ba? Okay. And yes, it's Christian Carlo de los Santos. Ayan. Baliktad siya on sa screen. Sorry. Winning or placing high, agree. I think this year except siguro sa Mr. International, no? Yung si MJ, I think, alam mo, nasayangan ako kay MJ kasi I I thought he did great overall nun sa Mr. International. I thought na yung placement niya was actually very low for his overall performance. I think yun yung basa ko doon. I actually thought na baka nagkamali sila ng announcement ng winner kasi parang feeling ko dapat si Spain yun, tapos si Philippines, and then si Hong Kong, and then etc. etc. So parang there was a moment there na parang I felt na baka nagkamali sila ng announcement na reverse yung listahan ng winners because for me during the final night kung Q&A lang pag-uusapan, hindi ganun ka hindi yung strongest na Q&A for me were Spain, Venezuela, saka si India. MJ had a confusing na Q&A, or rather he went around the he beat around the bush pero hindi weak yung answer niya. So I think yung title at that night nagtatalo between those four: Philippines, India, Venezuela, and Spain. So I was really like disappointed na bakit sila yung nasa lower end ng mga mga winners. So anyway, but yeah, I agree. Medyo hataw ngayon ang mga male pageants. I just recently covered yung Great Man of the Universe Philippines, and I found the candidates and the winners, eventual winners actually, are one of the more engaging ng mga guys. And I think yung the way that nag-i-improve yung local na male pageant scene, I think magandang step ito para mas maging respectable sila, or mas maging mataas yung tingin ng mga tao, ng mga fans sa male pageants ngayon sa Pilipinas. Okay, now travel junkie Nanette Medved, Kosovo. Actually, may hawig. Although mas tan kay Nanette yung si Kosovo. Hajiev, love it na hindi winnable you. Pasensya na kung harsh, pero I don't think naman na may ano siya na may fighting chance siya to win. Unless sa inyo you think that she is actually a crown contender, di ba? So Ace Evans, spring is March and June, winter is December to March. Oh, okay. Winter is a bit cold, pero nung nag-visit sila, Pia dito, nag-wine sila habang naka-jacuzzi, tapos breathtaking ang view of Santorini. Winnicott, first time kitang ma-encounter dito sa ating live stream. Winnicott, grabe ang expectations ng Colombians kay Andrea. Bumalik ang interest ng Latinos sa Miss Earth this year. Pag-usapan natin si Andrea kasi marami akong gustong masabi about her kasi ang ganda niya in person. Walang budol. I mean, hands down. Pag face ang pinag-usapan, I think Andrea takes the cake. Hands down. Skin, proportions ng face, yung bone structure ng face, sobrang ganda talaga. Wala kang maipintas. Kaya there is a reason kung bakit, mataas yung expectations ng mga Latinos kay Andrea ngayon. So, alam mong may ano siya. Alam mong may alam mong may dahilan kung bakit gandang-ganda ang mga fans sa kanya, and there is an expectation of her to win. Okay, Pierre, European girls are very keen on Miss Earth. I agree. Belgium and Netherlands, yung nakikita kong spoiler na pwedeng manalo among the European candidates this year. And balik tayo sa comment. And I love the passion of Australia and Korea in Miss Earth. Or it's the only pageant that they desire. Colombia should use an interpreter. Okay. Let's now start with yung ating main points. So let's focus muna on the Miss Earth this year. Ako, isa sa mga napansin ko this year is that because of the animosity of the Filipinos doon sa kalaban niyang Bangkok-based na pageant, mas intense ngayon yung support sa Miss Earth. And that is for me, a double-edged na knife. Because ang worry ko doon, if we are so keen to support Miss Earth because we don't dislike yung rival niyang pageant na pag-aagi ni Uncle, I want na sana masustain ng Filipino fans yung support na yon sa Miss Earth. Kasi I don't like yung idea na we are only supporting Miss Earth because ayaw natin sa isang pageant. We have to support Miss Earth simply because we love what they stand for, who they are as a pageant, and we support them wholeheartedly. And I know that Miss Earth has faults. Klaro tayo doon. I think there are areas of improvement. Maraming mga may listahan ng mga fans ng mga gusto nilang improvements, gusto nilang expectations for the pageant, and I understand ko saan lahat tayo nang gagaling. However, nowadays, one of the things that I have learned, and one of the things that I have observed this year was that kung happy ang mga candidates, if they are defending and very vocally, outspoken about their support, about their expectations, about their experiences, and they have more positive things to say about the pageant, then perhaps maybe we have to refrain our mentality that maybe it's not about the glam, only the glam, but also we must also take into consideration the experience of the candidates themselves. Maybe it's about time that we start to accept Miss Earth na that is their personality. They're not the most glamorous pageant around. That maybe kaya na nating iunawain ngayon na ang Miss Earth hindi yung glam factor ang hinahabol sa pageantry. And I know, for someone like me who is very keen on the entertainment aspect, on the glam factor of a pageant, parang feeling ko I am now more open to give Miss Earth a pass on that, simply because naiintindihan ko na ngayon na yung kanilang perspektibo, yung kanilang mindset, or yung kanilang aim and thrust is really about letting the candidates experience the entire Philippines, what it can offer, what it has to offer in terms of hospitality, food, culture, etc. And at the same time, involve them with, eco-conscious and eco-friendly na mga activities. And I am hoping na mas mag-lean towards that yung kanilang what do you call this? Yung kanilang focus in the uh, throughout the year. But I am also hoping na even though yun yung kanilang main thrust, hindi rin naman sana nila mapabayaan yung need for glossy photos, for glamorous na mga images in order for people to get excited with the pageant. Alam mo yun, parang hindi naman pwedeng sobrang very Miss Earth activities lang yung kanilang focus. They need to balance it out kahit papano. Even if it's only on social media na magpakitang dila sila with very glossy images, very glossy na mga photo shoots, just so that mabalanse nila yung need ng mga and yung want and yung fantasy ng mga pageant fans of the escapism that pageant provides. Yun lang siguro yung I think na pwedeng hindi naman maipintas, but pwede nating hingiin sa kanila. I don't think that we can ask them to change their entire perspective on pageantry because they have been very, I don't know, very, very focused and narrowly focused on yung kanilang advocacy. And yes, I get that. But I also need them to understand na sana mapagbigyan din nila yung mga fans to have like glossy photos. Kahit man lang sana yung headshots na dito ginawa sa Pilipinas, isang photographer ang kumana para it looks uniform all throughout. At hindi yung iba-iba yung lighting, iba-iba yung mood, iba-iba yung temperature ng mga photos na pinopost nila on their website. Kasi for the trained eye, for someone like me na nakikita kung ano yung mga photos na Photoshop na in-erase yung background just so that it has a white background versus yung photos talaga na kinuhanan na puti yung background. Iba yung ano, makikita mo yung diferensya. Makikita nyo yung on the edges very high yung contrast ng ano ng ng image versus the background. And I think sana isa ito doon sa maayos ng Miss Earth na as soon as the candidates come in doon sa kanilang registration, may booth that is provided in in the Miss Earth mansions where they can take photos for their profiles on their website or for profiles for their social media para lang magkaroon din naman ng konting konting ma-elevate ng konti bahagya yung glam factor ng Miss Earth. And I really hope that they would find someone who would be dedicated and who would be willing to to do that for them. Konting himas lang naman on the on the glam factor, not necessarily na they would have to overhaul their entire image. Parang they just need to balance it out, the need for a glam versus the need to be advocacy focused and advocacy driven. Ayan. Um, so I mentioned earlier na maraming mga candidates this year yung very happy doon sa kanilang experience, and I've seen I think if it was Miss Zimbabwe, if I'm not mistaken, mentioned something about very happy siya with the support that she is getting. Sandali lang, ayusin ko lang yung angulo. With the support that she's getting with the pageant fans and the Filipino pageant community here in the Philippines. And I think that is one of the things that the Miss Earth this year is able to what do you call this, able to maximize on is yung hospitality aspect ng pagbisita ng bawat grupo sa bawat areas na pinupuntahan nila, whether it's Zamboanga, whether it's Cagayan de Oro, whether it's Iligan, whether it's the different parts of the Philippines. And I think that is one of the areas na we excel talaga. It's the welcoming and the heartfelt and heartwarming na hospitality ng Philippines. And I think what really makes the tourism tourism boom here in the Philippines, it is not just only yung natural resources natin, yung natural na tourist spots natin, but the very heartwarming, the very very hospitable nature that we have. And I think that is the reason why the girls are very much very much nagkukusa sila. They take the initiative to to defend Miss Earth and the organization itself, whether marami sa atin na nagrereklamo na hindi ganoon kaganda yung accommodation sa mga probinsya, hindi ganoon kaganda yung mga pinipiling mga activities or whatever. But you have to understand na those things are out of the control by the organization, and the things that we are asking as fans na sana mas magandang hotel, mas magandang accommodations or whatnot. These are things that the local government and the national government should be providing to the local government sectors, the local tourism sectors, because they cannot put up the infrastructure without the support of the government if the government does not put in place a better transport system, better infrastructure system, better communication systems to these areas. So hindi pwedeng idahilan natin na ang Miss Earth ganito ganyan, hindi man lang makakuha ng magandang accommodations because we are limited in terms of those resources. Kita naman natin inflated yung ang ating international debt to trillions na at this point in time. So saan kukuha yung mga local governments ng resources para magpundar ng mas magagandang hotel without the help of the government? And I think that's one of the things that we really need to start to understand and appreciate about Miss Earth, that they make do with what's available. But that doesn't also give Miss Earth a pass na basta pwede na. Hindi naman pwedeng ganon, di ba? So we really need to manage our expectations and look at what are the current available resources and accommodations that we have para hindi naman tayo masyadong mapaghingi without understanding that in these localities, these municipalities and mga far-flung places, wala tayong mga very well-established na mga accommodations because hindi sila ganun ka-funded by the government. So we really need to, to manage our expectations at the same time, give Miss Earth the opportunity to improve themselves. Kasi those things need to go hand in hand. Hindi lang local government ang kinakailangan tumabaho, but pati yung national government mabigyan din ng resources na opportunities yung mga smaller natin na mga mga tourist na mga places in order for them to improve their improve spots kasi kailangan may budget yan para sa mga kalsada, may budget yan sa infrastructure, may budget yan para magkaroon ng I don't know, maybe closer airplanes or shipping docks na pwedeng doon dumaong ang mga barko. So those are things na hindi madaling i-request natin. Na hingin natin sa Miss Earth if the local government, the national government is not willing to spend much on those things na kailangan natin para gumanda yung image ng mga local na destinations ng mga girls. That is why yung human factor yung nagiging automatic na fallback natin na okay, hindi we cannot give them like a Maldives experience or a French Riviera experience, but at least what we can do is to give them the human experience, diba? So I think that's one of the things that I really wanted to stress out dito sa Palife natin because I think we really need to refrain from expecting too much. Especially doon sa mga localities na pinupuntahan nila because they make do what with what's available. Kasi alam ko ang Pinoy, kahit na yung isusubo na lang nila, ibibigay pa nila sa bisita nila. And that's how hospitable we are. We are willing to give whatever amenities that we have, the best of the amenities that we have, even if tayo yung maubusan. So I think, sana maintindihan din ng mga taong hindi nakakaunawa on that aspect because it took me so long to realize na may ganitong limitations din ang budget. And I hope na with my perspective, I am able to convince you to have a kinder outlook din dun sa Miss Earth because they are making do with what is available. And now, let me also try to brush up on yung coverage nung coverage ko nung event nung Ever Bilena. Kasi I think that a lot of the sponsors are really very accommodating and trying to give their best the best that they can offer to the girls. And I love the fact that local sponsors are willing to be very kind and to extend their offices, their amenities for the girls. And alam ko na hindi ganun kadali yung mag-host ka ng like almost 100 girls because I think they are at around 80 plus. If I'm not mistaken, they have like 4 or 5 more candidates than the Miss Universe, the expected candidates at Miss Universe in January. So I think they're around 88, 87, something like that, or 85. While Miss Universe is parang nasa 82, ganyan lang yung numbers. But either way, whether it's Miss Universe or Miss Earth or Miss World or Miss International, housing them them all in one hotel na hindi mo pinagbibiyak-biyak yung mga groups is a challenge. Simply because mahirap yung grouping nila tapos magkakaiba sila ng hotel na pinanggagalingan. So the fact that Miss Earth is able to find mga accommodations with the very tight na budget that they possibly are having, pwede na nating pwede na nating to make do. Ang hindi ko lang siguro nagugustuhan is yung mga motels that is associated with the Miss Earth brand. I understand na sometimes kinakailangan kapit patalim tayo with sponsors we get for either the local na Miss Philippines Earth or the international na Miss Earth na pageant. But I really hope that they be more mindful of how the sponsors would either help or make or develop the brand image of the pageant. Kasi pag kinakailangan nilang din naman nila na pag-ingatan yung kanilang brand name because they do need to be able to associate their brand name with sponsors that would elevate their brand further. Hindi yung basta meron, sige, tanggap na lang tanggap. So a little bit of a little bit of discernment din and parang refining yung kanilang selection ng mga what do you call this ng mga sponsors is needed. Kasi if they are able to get, like for example, Ever Bilena na ang ganda ng reception, ang ganda ng kanilang setup ng kanilang event. So I really am hoping that masustain nila to get better and bigger brands later on. Okay, so let's jump in muna sa natin sa comments natin and then we'll discuss yung mga candidates that na tingin ko pwedeng manalo. Okay? Dali lang. Let's just jump in sa ating comment section. Wait. I think we started. Oh no, we ended with Peer. Tama ba? Or si Winnicott? I think. Wait lang. Let's see. I think next we ended up with with Peer. Sabi niya kasi European girls are very keen on Miss Earth and I love the passion of Australia and Korea in Miss Earth. It's the only pageant that is our Colombia should use an interpreter. Okay, so yun. Doon kay Australia and Korea, I agree. I love the fact that especially for Australia, for Sheridan, kasi na-meet ko na siya several times. She really, maalam talaga siya when it comes to, eco-friendly na mga practices. In fact, the what's going on? Okay, there. I think balik na naman tayo. Okay, going back. I think Australia and Cuba, when I asked them about legislation in their countries that they think is the right move towards a more eco conscious na practices, meron silang naisagot, and I think that's really very very impressive, and I wanted to do this with all of the front runners. Sana kung nandun sila sa Ever Bilena event, but unfortunately iilan lang sila na nandun, but I'm really impressed with with their answers. So maalam yung mga girls when it comes to their advocacy and mga local laws nila on preserving the environment. And I agree that Colombia should use an interpreter. However, alam naman natin na hindi ganun kagaling yung mga interpreters na nakukuha ng Miss Earth. So maybe on the business entity purchased Miss U, wait lang, naligaw ako doon. The theories in Pinoy supporting ME this year is 1, when a Thai business entity purchased Miss Universe. 2, Pinoy's animosity towards Uncle's pageant. And 3, our disappointment with the results in Intercon and Globe. I agree, especially doon sa ganda part. I think yung mga Pinoy talaga is very has a very long-standing animosity with the Bangkok-based na pageant na kalaban ng Miss Earth. Um, I think yung animosity na yon, it just boiled over this year when especially when umalis yung pageant na yun sa Binibining Pilipinas. Suddenly kasi without the Binibining Pilipinas na ela of protection, fans are now can now openly like disavow or dislike can openly dislike the pageant. Parang nabigyan tuloy sila nabigyan tuloy ang mga Filipino fans ng lisensya na okay, pwede na namin i-drop yung suporta dito, pwede na natin hindi na pa siya pag-usapan, isnabin, ilabas yung galit na nakinikim-kim for the longest time dahil hindi na sila associated with Binibining Pilipinas. And I think, that is really a very powerful na powerful na impact ng Binibining Pilipinas na kahit yung pinaka ayaw natin na pageant, nagmumukhang mabango dahil sa brand name ng Binibining Pilipinas. I think that's really the pinakamalaking factor. Then of course, the fact that now, lahat ng major alpha pageants, Miss World, Miss Earth, Miss International, and now Miss Universe is now owned by and managed by Asian people. Ibig sabihin nun parang it's now Asia's time. Kaya it's now okay to support our own. So I think that is also a huge factor. And yung third na yung disappointment natin dun sa results ng Interconnect Globe, I think that's just a secondary na na reason. Perhaps it's not as big as the first two, but is still a factor. Kasi ngayon nakikita natin na we want pageants that actually treat the candidates fairly, right? And sa tingin natin, sa pananaw ng karamihan sa atin, ng mga Pinoy fans, hindi nangyari yun sa Intercon at sa Miss Globe. Ayan. EJ Belch, isn't Miss Earth have a creative director? If that's the position in charge of doing these areas of improvement, who would you nominate to be in that role? Sir Jason. EJ, I don't think that they have a creative director as of the moment, but I do hope that they would appoint one. I don't know yet kung sino pwede yung kung mai-recommenda. But it needs to be someone who is invested with the Miss Earth brand. At hindi yung dahil creative director lang. Kinakailangan meron siyang understanding and meron siyang amor doon sa brand ng Miss Earth so that maintindihan niya yung need ng Miss Earth to be very advocacy focused at the same time maintindihan niya yung need ng pageant fans to have a more engaging, glamorous na image, magkaroon ng mas elevated na image pa ang Miss Earth. Pierre says, if Miss Earth will apply the gloss and glam factor in their pageant, while other pageants will be seriously scared because they will emerge as the best overall pageant in all aspects. Pierre, I remember sa isang episode video ni The Sovereign, ni Davona, she mentioned that Miss Earth is perhaps the least problematic na pageant among the like 5-7 biggest pageants in the world. And I agree with her simply because wala kang nakitang issue on candidate maltreatment, wala kang naging masyado naririnig na issue on fixing, na luto. In most areas of the pageant, or rather in majority of the years, I would say na yung mga pinapanalo nilang mga girls are really deserving of their win. And looking at Lindsay Coffey, looking at Destiny Wagner, looking at Nelis Pimentel. I think those, those tawag ito, those winners themselves speak for yung the organization's ability to pick really deserving winners. And I think yan yung hindi mo kayang i-refute with Miss Earth. Okay? Hmm. Nasaan na tayo? I think we're with Dominic Martin Mission. Hi, sir. Finally able to catch you live. Watching from Perth, West Australia? Tama ba? Yung WA? I'm not sure. Although I know Perth is one of the major cities of Australia, but yeah. Hello, and I think pretty much almost the same time zone. Tama ba? Parang kung meron man parang nasa 2 or 3 hours lang ang difference, maybe. So hello there. Thank you for watching from Australia. Um, then we have Rodvin Fiel, Sir Jason. I agree na sana mag-provide ng better HD photos and photo shoot ang ME. Wala akong problema sa immersion activities. Kahit di ganun ka-glam yung locations, maganda kasi yun for me kasi realistic. I agree. Yun lang. We really need just to tweak a bit on the HD na photos and photo shoots for Miss Earth candidates. Hindi lang yung sa winner sana kasi it's ano it's expected na merong photoshoot ang mga Miss Earth na winners post coronation, pero sana pati din naman yung mga candidates in their arrival na meron namang ganung factor na glam factor na may iangat or may elevate ng bahagya yung glam factor ng Miss Earth, not drastic na increase and consistent na increase, na leveling up, kumbaga. Hindi naman natin hinihingi na magbagong anyo sila, di ba? Parang hindi naman pwedeng kampanerang Kuba tapos biglang Diyos ang Ann Curtis yung transformation. Hindi maganda naman yung ganon kasi you tend to alienate naman your existing audience, but rather gradual na consistent na growth, kumbaga, ang hinihingi natin. Queen Mommy says, Hola Bells, Sir Jason. Na-late ako, huhuhu, but happy to catch your live. Hello, Queen Mama Bells. Queen Mama says is one of the very masugid nating followers on Instagram, and I am very glad na you're here because you're one of the accounts who post very sensible na mga comments. Ayan. Sir, nasaan tayo? Rodvin, kaso aangat ang brand nila kung may glossy output sila. I agree. Value added, kumbaga, especially these days na dami na nilang kalaban na pageants. Yun na nga. Kaya ko naman gusto na sana may angat nila yung kanilang glam factor. It's because expected na yun dahil ang dami ng mga naglipa ng mga pageants. Now, aside from the four na alpha pageants, you have yung Miss Intercon, yung Globe, yung Miss Global, yung supranational, tapos yung kalaban na pageant na ni Uncle. Tapos meron pang mga Miss Elite, meron pang Miss Charm na darating, meron pang ano pa ba 'yun? Yung ang dami kasing tourism na tourism na mga titles, like merong world, may international, tapos may tourism queen pang nalalaman. So alam mo yun, parang sa dami ng mga pageants ngayon, you really need to step it up kasi you don't want naman to risk of staying put, because if you just do the minimum, I mean, you retrogress din naman. So you really need to keep up with the times, kumbaga. Jella Vlogs, good evening. Hello. Pensador Zambangueño. Miss Earth was able to optimize what is available. There is a disparity between sponsoring LGUs, Cebu, and Dumaguete to give better production coverage than the rest. I agree, because not all of our local governments are given budgets. Unless you are so self-sustaining na city, hindi ganun karami yung resources mo when it comes to pagpapatayo ng mga infrastructures, pagpapatayo ng mga hotels, pagpapatayo ng mga necessary na mga elements ng tourism, yung ports, yung mga bangka, yung uh, mga sports complex or entertainment complexes in the provinces. So hindi ganun kadili at hindi ganun kabilis na ipatupad yung mga ganung mga infrastructures. So there agree, tama yung sinabi ni Pensador na there is a disparity when it comes to what is available depending on the local government units na areas and venues na pinupuntahan ng mga girls. Okay, Dorothy V. Jones, hello, hello, hello. Biglang nawala yung ang comment niya. Sandali lang, Louis. Scroll too fast. Dorothy says, Miss Earth is so blessed to have excellent candidates, plus the benefit of several sponsors. The organization just needs to get the most out of these advantages while delivering a pageant show. Agree. Kasi, syempre, nag-shell out na nga yung mga sponsors. The Filipino fans are also very welcoming. So sana maisipan din ng Miss Earth to balance it out with a great show, which I am hoping and praying that would go without a hitch this coming Tuesday. I am going to cover it for the first time. I've been, talking and discussing pageants since 2014, 2013, I think with Megan Young. And this is the first time that I am covering the Miss Earth pageant live. So I am hoping to have a good experience, a grand experience in the finals. I hope na alam mo yun uh, ma-enjoy ko yung experience ng finals. Okay. Carl De Carman, puro kayo reklamo, wala namang ambag. Here's the thing about fans and their opinions. While I agree that there are some extremist na mga comments, extreme comments that is bordering to rude, unhelpful, and just simply tacky. But there are also comments na would give you an idea of what is the expectations ng mga pageant fans. The mere fact that there are a united voice saying that there is a need to improve on certain aspects means that there is indeed an area that needs to be addressed. So ayoko din naman na sabihin na walang karapatan yung mga fans to voice their opinions because fans are there to support the pageant. It's just a matter of ihiwalay natin kung ano yung kritisismo for the sake of criticism versus criticismo in order to improve the pageant. I think there's a huge difference there. The reason why a criticism that is aiming to improve the pageant, meron ang pagkakaiba niya doon sa mismong kritisismo lang is that there is an element of improvement, of wanting to improve, and perhaps how to say this, a point of suggestion na ito yung pwedeng idagdag para mag-improve yung pageant. Because it cannot be, you cannot be a pageant who does not listen to criticism because that's the only way that you can get feedback, honest feedback. Because if you are a pageant and ang feedback na na pinapakinggan mo lang are the positive ones, then you're not gonna get a whole lot of improvement out of that. Kasi syempre, yung mga positive na mga comments, sasabihin lang sa'yo maganda. Pero hindi naman sasabihin sa'yo kung bakit maganda, saan yung parte na maganda, ano yung areas na hindi maganda para ma-improve natin. So, yes, pwede kang magbalanse, kumaga, ng what is a critique versus what is criticism. A good critique is essentially something that would allow the pageant to improve, and to improve in a way that is for the betterment of the pageant. Ayun. Wrap. I think the main reason of traveling around various municipalities or cities is community immersion. I agree. Aside from promoting local tourists, destinations, and businesses, and also it also allows the girls, to have an experience. Kasi if kukumpara natin ang Miss Earth versus, let's say, Miss Universe. Yung Miss Universe, yung 10 araw na nagko-compete ka, doon ka lang sa hotel. And when I was covering Miss Universe in 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, ang laki nung diferensya nung venue, dahil kapag ang pageant is located in a US city or in within USA, karamihan ng pagkakataon kulob sa loob ng hotel yung mga candidates. So, with Miss Earth, na kaya nila every year, except for the, pandemic years ng Miss Earth, na i-tour ang mga girls around, different municipalities, and be immersed not only with the tourism but yung mga ecological na practices nila, how we protect yung mga endangered na mga mangroves natin, mga protected areas, protected wildlife areas natin. That's really a good way, to immerse themselves with, preserving nature and the environment and yung flora and fauna natin. Okay, we have Richard Amping. Does it mean the West is turning their backs on pageants? Richard, I think we've said this like several times already, that uh, the pageant na industry, hindi na ganun kalakas sa US and sa Europe. And I think that's understandable kasi ang market talaga ngayon is in Asia and Latin America. And with Asia expanding its clout when it comes to pageantry, asahan mo na, Asia would be more represented in pageants in general. Kaya nga nakikita nyo na yung ibang mga countries na gustong magkaroon ng clout, kumukorona ng Vietnamese, ng Indonesian, ng Filipino, ng Thai na winners. So, there. Okay, Pensador Zamboangueño, I hope you can, you can speak and understand Chabacano, because you mentioned here that you've been following Colombian pages. Okay, sabi niya, the Colombians are the most active fans in Instagram for Miss Earth. It will be another negative feedback for ME if Colombia will not win. And more than that, I think Colombia is really a great representative. I think she really is, one of the more outstanding candidates in terms of beauty. Anna Maria says, totoo po ba hakot awards si Colombia sa Miss Earth? I have no idea who ME chooses their winner. Are they considering those awards as an edge for a top 5 or 3 winner? Anna Maria, when it comes to the medal tallies, they actually don't have any bearing at all with the results ng pageant. However, it gives you an idea on who are the favorites ng mga pageant fans, ng mga local, government units na nag-award sa kanila ng mga tourism ng mga awards and etc., mga sponsors awards. And right now, in terms of medal tally, Colombia and Korea is actually neck and neck with the padamihan ng awards. I think Cuba is in there as well. Australia is in there as well. Brazil is there as well. Zimbabwe, I think, is also in that list. So, it really gives you an idea on which are the candidates na sinusubaybayan ng mga tao, ng mga LGUs, ng mga sponsors. Harry Baguio, #1 pageant in the world. Sabi ni Richard M. Pig, I love Miss Colombia. She's so professional in keeping her poise and grace, a true quality of a beauty queen. Also, Netherlands is one I cannot ignore. I agree with Netherlands. Siya yung silent, pero you know that she's going to be a dark horse in the competition. I don't think na mawawala si Netherlands sa unang sa top 20 or top 16. Pierre says, I genuinely love Miss Earth, and their humility, advocacy, and dedication made me like their pageant. Honestly, I just discovered their pageant this year, and from then on, I put it in my number one list. Um, uh, I don't know how to pronounce this Thai symbol, but all of the world hope to see amazing production on Miss Earth 2022. Um, let's see. Richard Ampig says, I wish they had their own official media, just even just YouTube during their provincial tours to keep the fans updated every step of the way. Um, then let's go to wait, dami na to nito. Bandy says, if Miss Palestine reached top 8, I believe she can create an upset in this year's competition. Mahina yung pasarela niya and lack of confidence with her body. Plus size kasi siya, like Angeli. Pag-usapan natin yan kasi si Palestine is isa sa mga nasa listahan ko when it comes to possible spoilers. Third Formarn says, hope Colombia wins Miss Earth. This time, napakaganda nag na nakapag po na, nakapagpondo na sila ng madaming runners up. Agree. And this might just be their year. EJ Belch, Critical Beauty Salon recently did a live streaming with three guests from various pageant vloggers in on Miss Earth. Have you considered joining future collab with them? That's the thing. Mahirap mag-align kung minsan ng mga schedules. Kasi like for example, every time na nagkita kami ni Tita Lavinia, gusto naming mag-live mag-live together pero hindi nagtutugma yung mga schedules namin. So, we really need to have to sit down, find time kasi of course with other than pageantry, abala din kami din naman kami sa mga personal namin mga buhay-buhay. I still am teaching and hindi pwedeng i-sacrifice ko yun just for just for pageantry. So I really need to find pockets of time where I can do live streaming, I can record, I can do content creation on for Facebook and Instagram, for YouTube. So matrabaho yun na proseso. It's not that I don't like to, I just cannot find time na gawin ko siyang like 24/7 na buhay ko because it's really difficult kasi when you are managing like someone like me, I'm managing teaching in three different schools plus may pageant coverage pa. So hindi ganoon kadali yung gumawa ng content for pageants because syempre may lesson plan kang gagawin, planuhin mo kung ano yung mga activities ng students mo. Then outside of that, you have to do coverage, you have to do editing and taking photos, ganyan. So medyo matrabaho siya, especially for someone like me na very maalaga or rather very I don't want to just put people on board to help me with Sashes&Scripts simply because inalagaan ko yung brand name niya for for quite a long time and ayoko na masira ako because of my partner, whether it's making terrible comments, terrible content, ayokong mangyari na ganun yung kalabasan. So, I will find time kapag mas maluwag na yung schedule ko, maybe in a month or two. Okay? Ayan, masyado ng maraming mga comments. I'm sorry, but I will have to skip some of your comments for this one. Kasi we really need to to speed up. I don't want na umabot na naman tayo ng 2 oras sa sa live stream natin. Okay, so let's hear. Sabi ni Jella Vlogs, I am happy na live telecast sa Latin America ang Miss Earth via Globovision, which I believe Globovision is a Venezuelan-based na network. Tama ba? I think so. I think tama. So there. Ano pa ba? Nasaan na yung ating comments? Dali lang. Ayan. Mag-ilaw muna tayo sandali. Nakalimutan kong ilagay kasi. Ayan. Medyo madilim kasi kanina yung ano. Um, there. Okay na ba yan? So back to the comments. Lil Penny says, Miss Earth should improve their stage and production on Coronation Night because that's what resonates to the worldwide fans. Jose Loco, good evening, Earthlings. Hello, Jose Loco. Welcome to the live stream. Lil Penny also added here na having a great advocacy is great, but the Miss Earth is a beauty pageant first and foremost, not an environmental forum. It's the former first, then the latter. I think we can say that they can manage both. I think that if they are able to manage both in equal measure, then they would be unstoppable in the pageant industry. But then again, I do recognize the need for Miss Earth to level up, to elevate up their social media presence, their gloss factor, their finals na production, and with the pageant happening in Okada at the Cove this coming Tuesday. I am optimistic and hopeful na this would be a better staging than what we had in the last 4 or 5 years. JD, Miss Earth or kailangan na pagsamahin ang sustainability and gloss para magstay ang fans sa kanila, which is the right thing to do because you cannot be very advocacy focused na napapabayaan mo yung entertainment factor, and you cannot be an very entertainment factor na wala kang advocacy. So it really needs to be an equal measure on both sides. Excuse me. Ayan. Okay, Lil Penny, I think out of the top four favorites, Colombia, Korea, Australia, and Cuba, it's Colombia who's the weakest at Q&A. But then again, that's not just what judges are looking for. And there is one aspect na sa tingin ko, itong si Colombia has an advantage on. Let me just, finish up these comments because I really want to start na talking about yung mga candidates that I see for the title. Okay, Salvatore, kumusta? Kumusta, sir? Are you still in Spain? Anyway, love to be here with you po. Do you know how to get tickets for Miss Earth bukas na? Oh, I forgot. You mentioned nga pala na you're here in Manila. That I am not sure kasi I reached out to Miss Earth, their PR na ano na director, and I asked if I can cover the Miss Earth na pageant, and she said yes. So I will be going there in a little bit earlier than everybody. So uh, when I get more information kung paano bumili ng tickets for the finals on Tuesday. It's on Tuesday, in the 29th. I will be posting it on our Instagram and Facebook na accounts, okay? I don't know at this point in time kung paano kasi yung mechanics na yun. But when I get more information, I will be glad to um, Salvatore says, "I'm happy for your success. You are doing great with the pageant vlogging. Thank you." And I'm hoping na mas fluid na akong magsalita, na hindi na ako masyado na nag-i-stutter because I'm sure nabanggit ko na previously ito, when I was growing up, I have a stuttering problem whenever I speak, especially in English, in Tagalog noon. So I'm hoping na unti-unti ko na siyang mabubura. There. Lil Penny, I think Indonesia will make the semifinals, but I think she will struggle in the swimsuit competition on November 29th. What do you think of Indonesia's chances of advancing past semifinals? Here's the thing. Indonesia is very intelligent. Karina, she really is one of the more better spoken ng mga candidates. However, ang magiging issue ko sa kanya is yung presentation skills niya because she really needs still polishing on the pasarela. There is a reason why yung mga Puteri Indonesia girls come here to train in the Philippines because they don't really have infrastructure for pageant coaching, pageant training. Dun tayo nangingibabaw. Because in terms of, let's say, the technical na training, in terms of the way that girls are pumped up and developed for pageants, iba pa din yung training dito. And I think Karina really still needs, polishing on the presentation na aspect, more than the body. I think we know naman that Miss Earth is very body positive, and they don't have any issues with body shaming at all, or selecting just one type of body structure for their winner, unlike yung Thai counterpart nila. Miss Earth, is less problematic on that aspect. But in terms of the presentation, doon magkakatalo. I think that is where Karina really needs to polish her walk, her poses, the transition ng facial features, ganyan. And here's another thing. Pansin ko pala sa karamihan ng mga girls, nag-start na silang mag-breakout ngayon pa, nung Friday pa lang. So they really need to ensure na meron silang mad pack nitong last 2 days nila, last 2 evenings nila, para mawala yung mga zits nila. Kasi nakikita na nagkakaroon na sila ng breakouts. So kapag nagka-breakout sila, syempre makikita ng mga judges na yon, my God, lower ang score mo, kasi syempre beauty of the face is still part of the judging na competition. So para sa lahat ng mga girls, I hope they really find good makeup na base, para ma-hide yung kanilang mga breakouts, kasi marami na sa kanila yung nagbe-breakout na sa ngayon. Okay, okay. Sige, balikan natin ang mga tawag nito. Ayun, thank you, Jella. Okay. Jella Vlogs is saying natawag po sa Miss Earth for tickets, or pwede daw magpa-reserve ng tickets from Miss Earth Foundation hotline po, tapos pay sa Okada. Okay? Please do check how that works, para you can get tickets for the finals on Tuesday. Lil Penny, I don't know. Why did Carousel Productions change the time of the pageant from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m.? Was it the fans' request? Did Lorraine finally listen to the fans of Miss Earth? Okay, may nakapagsabi sa akin na kapag alas 3 ng tanghali, masyadong mainit dun sa The Cove. Kasi glass siya, tapos diretso yung sinag ng araw sa kanya, kaya mainit yung sa loob kahit na full blast ng aircon. So there's a possibility na yun yung isa sa mga kinonsider nila for the finals. And for me, the mere fact na they recognize this problem, they are solving this problem by moving it to 6 p.m. na mas medyo colder na yung atmosphere, hindi na ganun kasikat ng araw, hindi na tirik yung araw. I think that's a good, move moving forward. Although I'm not sure kung yun nga ang reason why they moved the pageant from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Okay, now let's go muna doon sa ating second major point that I really wanted to discuss about who are the candidates na I feel have the biggest chance of winning the title. Actually, hindi nagkakalayo yung mga picks ninyo when it comes to my picks for the top title. And for me, I am looking at Mina Suchoy of Korea, Andrea Aguilera of Colombia, Sheila Ravelo Perez of Cuba, and Australia's Sheridan Mortlock. I think these 4 girls are the girls that kahit na sino sa kanila, who among them wins, magiging happy in general ang mga fans, because they really are the girls who are very, outspoken, very beautiful facially. And I think, there are the girls na when it comes to presentation, hindi ka naman mabibigo. And let's talk muna about Korea. Korea has not sent a outstanding candidate, in my opinion, to Miss Earth since Catharina Choi Nunez in 2013. Ganun katagal bago sila nakapagpadala ng super strong na girl for the Miss Earth na pageant. And I am thinking na because si Nina is US educated. She speaks good English, is very communicative. She knows her stuff when it comes to eco issues, and she knows, very well how to project and deliver, her content um, in a very engaging manner. I think she will be a great Miss Earth. But that doesn't mean na hindi she's not without competition. The mere fact that we have Sheila Ravelo Perez, who is, despite you know despite being Cuban, she's actually studying in the University of Florida. And she's when I talk to her, she's one of the girls na kapag tinanong mo ng anything that is related to the environment, she can, mesmerize you with, with very thought out na mga answers. And what I really am very impressed about her is the fact that when we talked about sustainability in terms of practices, marami siyang alam. What I am most impressed is because she's a student and she's advocating more towards, ethical consumerism, which is a very huge factor because she is also studying. Currently, she's a student, no, and I am also teaching, sustainable practices in the garment industry as one of my subjects. I really the way that she spoke about her, her advocacy on consuming less really spoke to me and resonated to me because it's one of the things that I am very much um, dealing with in terms of the subject that I teach. What really got me, namangha talaga ako sa kanya is not just the facial beauty. Pag-usapan natin yan later on kasi ganda, wala tayong question on that. But when we were talking and, I was discussing with her yung paano ba natin pwedeng i-manage or i-balance yung very consumerist nature ng fashion industry, because that's one of the areas that she's talking about when it comes to, sustainable practices versus, the need for the fashion industry to be less, less concerned about profits, but concerned about the ecological impacts of the industry as a whole. Marami siyang nasabi sa akin with regards to, how to balance, the need for renting fashion, buying secondhand clothes, wearing clothes for a longer period of time so that the shelf life before it becomes trash is prolonged, and it contributes to lesser carbon footprint. That really got me as, not at a very intellectual na level. I really am very impressed with someone who can talk to me about these issues without, without pauses. Yung hindi niya kinakailangan mag-stop, mag-isip, tapos saka magsasalita. Dire-diretso siyang nakakapagsabi. And if you've checked yung aking interview sa kanya on my YouTube channel, that's just a snippet of what she can actually provide and give insight on. And marami pa siyang masasabi, marami pa siyang insights when we were, just talking, off camera. So abangan niyo siya kasi um, she is one of the girls that I think, very very much a dark horse, na hindi siya ganun kapopular as compared to, let's say, Colombia, pero meron siyang, puwersa kapag nagsalita na when you talk with her, na mesmerize ka with the way that she gives feedback, the way she gives, her thoughts and opinions. And one of the things that I also noticed with her is that hindi siya rehearsed kapag nagsasalita, na hindi siya yung tipong kinakailangan niyang i-memorize yung sasabihin niya para lang meron siyang talking points. And that is one of the reasons why I think aabangan natin itong si Shayla because she really knows her stuff. And another thing, kapag tinignan mo si Shayla in person, she is a mix of a lot of beauty queens. May pagka-Diana Torres siya in some angles, meron pa siyang Charlene Gonzalez in some, in some lighting. There are moments where I actually seen her, Priscilla Perales, who is Miss International from Mexico. And alam mo yun, kapag tinitignan mo siya, she can channel, very modern, fresh na very youthful na look. Pero at the change of a hat, kapag minake-upan mo na't lahat, nagta-transform siya into something na mas mature, sultry, and all. So she can balance different looks. And I think really that's one of the things that I really I like about her face kasi hindi iisa yung kanyang look na bumabagay sa kanya. And another thing, pulido siyang maglakad, and thanks to yung kanyang coach, si Jan Quijano, and thank you Jan as well for um, bridging the connection between me and Shayla kasi mas madali ako nakapag-interview sa kanya if because of the association with you. So I really am very much impressed with the way that overall I think Cuba has the more strong na na overall na performance. Kumbaga she ticks off all boxes strongly. So yon. So abangan natin si Shayla because I am thinking na she might be the girl that will pull the rug from the more sash factor na countries like Philippines, Venezuela, Puerto Rico, and even Colombia. Now let's talk about Colombia. The thing about Colombia is Joshua. There is no photo that I took or video that I took na hindi siya maganda, that she doesn't look gorgeous. And what really impresses me is the fact that when I look at her, I am reminded of Gazini Ganados during Binibining Pilipinas 2019 that she doesn't take any bad photos. She always looks HD. She always looks like on point. Very. This is the kind of candidate that I would expect seeing at Miss Universe na wala siyang moment na hindi siya maganda tignan, wala siyang hulas moments. And that is one of the things that I am, looking forward with Andrea. In terms of yung kanyang overall look, I think Andrea actually kind of looks like Thalia in certain angles. And in certain angles, she really reminds me of Gazini. So, imagine mo pag pinagsama mo yung ganda ni Thalia at ganda ni Gazini and you get, Andrea, parang, shit, nakakaloka. Hindi pwedeng hindi niyo parunahan to. Hindi niyo pwedeng hindi siya bigyan ng title, even if it's just an elemental na title. Do I see her winning Miss Earth? Yes, of course. But do I see other girls possibly ruining her chances at the Miss Earth title? Yes, of course. Kasi I see that there are a lot of girls who are really equally strong this year, and these girls do not necessarily come from powerhouse countries like Venezuela or the Philippines. I mean, the mere fact that we are talking about Colombia, and Cuba and Australia in the four girls na most likely to win, iisa lang dun yung powerhouse, yung kino-consider natin na powerhouse. So it means that Miss Earth, it's really a good ground to find, a winner from a country who is not really much of a powerhouse. I mean, the mere fact that we have Belize winning last year with Destiny Wagner tells something about the character of Miss Earth na hindi sila tumitingin sa sash ng girl. Ang tinitingnan talaga nila is yung girl kung winnable ba talaga siya. And that is, one of the fears that I have with Andrea, that she really needs to nail every segment of the competition from finals para ma-tick off niya lahat ng mga nagda-doubt sa kanya in terms of her Q&A, in terms of the way that she delivers, her speech. Because isa sa mga napansin ko kay Andrea is that she sticks to a certain, like phrases or group of words that seems to be like muscle memory for her when it comes to talking about her advocacy for the pageant. And yes, I agree na you have to be consistent, but it can be repetitive at times. Kaya I am hoping that come finals, she would be able to channel her thoughts in English, but at the same time, there is also a part of me that's wishing that she would speak in Spanish. The thing kasi is, I am not very confident with the Spanish translators ng Miss Earth. That has always been one of the areas that I think the Miss Earth pageant should and must really improve on, because it really is so disheartening, seeing candidates having their chances cut off because the translator is not able to communicate the thoughts and opinions of the girl quite well. And it really breaks my heart kasi sayang yung opportunity dun ng girl. So I am hoping that na kayang itawid ni Andrea yung kanyang Q&A in English without sounding rehearsed and without using the same tired na catchphrases that she's been using throughout her spiel whenever she's being interviewed in Miss Earth. Kasi I really am I really am rooting for her to win because Miss past Miss Colombias in Miss Earth have already been doing exceptionally well, to the fact that they have had bridesmaid finish uh, for the longest time. Na we are just hoping na for this time around, they end up as the bride, not the bridesmaid, not the maid of honor even. It's about time, I think, that Miss Earth crowns a Colombian. And kung mangyayari man siya, we're hoping na sana si Andrea na yon. So if anyone of you have access to Andrea and communicate with her, I hope that you would tell her, to be more relaxed the way that she speaks, so that she doesn't um, look as if she is reusing the same catchphrases over and over. I think Andrea is gorgeous, and isa sa mga na-appreciate ko kay Andrea is after the event ng Ever Bilena, she is the only candidate na lumapit dun sa table ng press, ng media, to thank us for the coverage of the event and for the coverage that we've given her, for the pictures that we took of her, the videos that we took of her during the competition. And I really felt that. I felt that it was very sincere of her na lumapit sa mga media. And I think that kind of PR is something that we really need for a Miss Earth winner, so that mas magkaroon ng media mileage yung pageant and yung winner itself. Yung ganong klaseng, amor, yung ganong klaseng pag-give back, um, is really something, I personally, covering pageants, don't normally see happen. Bihira siyang nangyayari. So I am hoping na yung good behavior niya, yung gandang asal na pinapakita niya, is something that the judges and the organization would take into account when they are deliberating Andrea as a possible winner for Miss Earth. Kasi um, if they have, they have legitimate reasons to crown her, um, and it's not just because she's beautiful. It is more because of the fact that marunong siyang mag PR, marunong siyang magpasalamat, which is a really really underrated na or understated na thing that pageant girls have to do. I mean, the mere fact that you go to someone and say thank you for the coverage, thank you for taking pictures with me, thank you for taking my pictures, it really says something about yung kagandahang asal ng babae. And I should know that kasi I've experienced, a pageant girl na nilapitan ka na, nagpakuha ng picture sa'yo, tapos nilayasan ka na lang bigla without even saying thank you to you. Parang, ano ba yon, di ba? Parang, wag namang ingrata. And I think Andrea is the entire opposite of that. She really was very gracious throughout the entire event. Even if a lot of pageant media is like, you know, pulling her for interviews, and she probably is very, very tired by the end of the day with so much interviews that she had to go through with different pageant media present during the event. Says something about, yung good qualities that Andrea has as a potential winner. So there. Now let's talk about Sheridan Mortlock, because she is among the girls na kapag binato mo ng tough questions, she will answer you as if minani niya lang yung question mo. That's what I like about Miss Earth, because they are not afraid to crown intelligent winners and opinionated na mga girls. And Sheridan is one of those girls that you talk about greenwashing, you talk about circular economy, you talk about eco-conscious, sustainable na practices on the fashion industry, or even general production process as a whole. Meron at meron siyang sasabi. When you talk about fauna preservation, flora preservation, she still has something to say about it. You talk to her about about legislation on sustainable legislation. Meron siyang nasasabi. In fact, she's one of the girls when I asked uh, to record a video with her, na sabi ko sa kanya, I will record a video of you, and the question, and this is the question, and then when I push, record, start talking, and in one take natapos na yung point niya. The mere fact that she is very much aware of a new legislation that has been enacted in Australia for just 2 months, and she's updated that much when it comes to uh, uh, protective legislation for fauna in Australia, and she really nails yung fine points of that legislation, to protect yung kanilang koalas, protect yung kanilang swift parrot, yung protect yung kanilang mga endangered na mga wildlife. That was like an impressive moment for me. And every time that I talk to her, and interview her, she never fails to mesmerize me with the way that she talks about really current issues. Which is like, not all of the candidates have that. Yung magkaroon ka ng girl na ganun kaalam sa mga issues, and ganun ka very invested with the advocacy of Miss Earth, it says something about that girl's ability to be a spokesperson for the organization, and that she can be a potential great Miss Earth winner. So I mean, with all of this into consideration, I really am having a hard time to pick just one winner. Kasi equally for me, Nina, Andrea, Shayla, and Sheridan, kahit na sino sa kanilang manalo, I mean, waging-wagi na yung Miss Earth na organization. If they pick all four of them as the top four, as the winner plus her elemental na na court, then I think this would be the most mind blowing batch of winners that Miss Earth would produce. So and this is not just because I'm just talking for the sake of talking points, kasi pinili mo lang siya kasi sila yung popular. No, I am able to meet three of the girls out of my top four na list, and I can really ascertain to everyone na de kalidad itong mga girls na ito. Now, let's talk about two girls that I feel na pwedeng mag-shake up nung top four na favorites ko for the titles. And that is Zimbabwe and Palestine. And the only reason why they're not in my list, of four, it's because I haven't seen them, being covered as much as the four girls. So, kumbaga, dahil hindi ko pa sila na meet in person, at hindi ko sila nakasalamuhan, na obserbahan, or hindi ko sila naman manan on social media on how they're popular or how they are doing in terms of yung kanilang pageant journey. That doesn't mean that hindi sila equally worthy na manalo. I think when it comes to the intelligence rounds, si Zimbabwe at saka si Palestine ang dalawa actually sa mga girls na sa tingin ko I was really wowed and really like mesmerized in terms of in terms of their knowledge, in terms of their speaking ability, and the fact that I think Palestine is a doctor. You know, that's another factor na nakakapag pad up nung kanilang resume. I am also looking at now. Ano lang, just a quick run through on some girls per continental grouping na I am quite impressed on. First things first, sa Americas, I think USA is someone na pwede nating asahan na biglang bubulaga on the finals. She's very beautiful. She had great dark skin, beautiful features. She's not conventionally the girl that you would want to, you would want to say na, ay, winnable siya. No, she's not that. But she has really great qualities na pwedeng makapagpanalo sa kanya in Miss Earth. Then, I would also like to mention Oriana Pablos of Venezuela. I think despite not having as popular as other Latinas, like for example Cuba or Colombia, I think she still is able to take off all of the areas of the competition in a good manner. So pwede nating makita siya in the finals na bigla na lang bumulusok sa top 4. Among the Africans, I am looking up at right now, aside from Zimbabwe, is actually Ethiopia. She really looks like Flora Cockerell, Miss France, who competed in Miss Universe 2015 and made top 5 din sa batch ni Pia. Kasi ganun siya kaganda. She might not have the height of Flora, but she has the face na ganun kaganda. My only worry about her is when it comes to pasarela in terms of the presentation, she still needs, to what do you call this? To iron that out kasi that is an area where she more attention to. Very weak pa kasi yung pasarela niya, yung transitions niya from her poses, pati yung facial na transitions niya on camera, medyo kinakailangan pang ayusin. If she's not lucky to win any of the 4 titles or even any elemental na titles in Miss Earth. I hope na she would consider other pageant systems, pero yun na nga, train hard muna siya on the aspect of the presentation. In terms of Asia, I am looking at Nepal's oh my god, I forgot her name, Dr. Shrisha. I'm sorry if I forgot her name. I didn't list it down. I'm just running this through my head as I speak. Isa siya sa mga girls na I am very much impressed because of her resume, and I think na siya ang isa sa mga asahan natin na makakapasok dun sa unang cut. Looking at Karina of Indonesia, I am hoping na sana she would be the first, first girl na makapasok man lang kahit top 8 or even top 16 ng Miss Earth, because I really love the energy surrounding her. She's very unaffected, kumbaga, dun sa dun sa animosity ng Indonesian and ng Filipino fans, and I think that's a good thing. I also like the fact that she is a broadcaster, a certified na broadcaster, which really helps pad her resume a bit more. And then when it comes naman to the Europeans, of course, I'm looking at Netherlands and Belgium, although Belgium still needs to have more stage presence, I believe. And ayusin ng konti yung kanyang pasarela, because the transitions still need to be more smooth between poses. At saka yung magkaroon siya ng parang choreography of her own, na pwede niyang masabi na trademark niya yon. Okay? So that's it. When it comes to the ladies na sa tingin ko pwede nating asahan na makapasok sa top 8 or even top 20 this year or top 16. Okay, basa na muna tayo ng mga comments, and then let's wrap it up. Uh, yeah, within 20 minutes. Okay. Okay. Where we are. Okay. Travel Junkie says, I think Destiny Wagner didn't even win any medal through immersion judge sa behavior. I know Colombia is strong, but as I've said in your IG, iba ang gut feel ko. Watch out for Netherlands, Korea, and Australia. Lil Penny says Global Vision has been broadcasting Miss Earth since live since 2017. And yun yung advantage ng mga what do you call this, ng mga alpha pageants is that they have broadcast partners, and hindi siya katulad ng ibang mga pageants na nagre-rely lang ng live stream. Iba pa din kasi yung international pageant ka na meron kang international na broadcast partner. Ayun. Okay, let's move on. Lil Penny says, with all due respect, having a 50-50 balance between stage and production, stage or production and environmental advocacy will lead Miss Earth lagging behind glossy pageants like Miss Universe and Miss Supra. I think a 70-30 formula is better for Miss Earth. Jella Vlogs. I, wait, nabasa ko na to kay Jella. Let's continue. Pageant enthusiastic. Always remember, oh nawala, nasaan na? Bakit biglang nag-refresh? Sorry kasi pag nag-refresh yung comment section, nawawala yung current na naka-highlight sa akin. Let me just scroll back kasi nasaan na yung comment? Nawala na. Okay, okay, let me just... Okay, pageant enthusiastic. Okay. Always remember, Miss Earth measures the winners on three aspects: beauty and figure, intelligence and advocacy. Iba siya kaysa sa ibang pageants. I agree. Going back to dun kay Jella Vlogs, sabi niya, pwede pa-reserve po tickets from Miss Earth Foundation hotline po, pay sa Okada. May tickets na po kami, and that's how we did it. Okay? Now, let's go to Denise Adriatico. Thank you for joining. Sabi niya, Cuba, Colombia, Korea, and Australia are my top 4. Hindi tayo nagkaiba. Sila yung top 4 favorites to be crowned as Miss Earth 22, sabi ni Denise. Okay, Lil Penny says, if Lorraine gave you the position to run and manage Miss Earth, what's the top 3 things you should change about the pageant to make it more popular around the world? Sa akin Penny, is that una, I would institute a photo shoot for the glam shot as soon as they arrive and register at the Miss Earth mansions. That is to make it, uniform for everybody, and gagamitin ko yung photo shoot na yon for profiles on the website, and then gagamitin ko yun as content for social media, kasi it's really important to have very strong social media presence nowadays, kasi if you're not on social media, then you don't exist. Yun yung realidad ng what do you call this, realidad ng pageants sa ngayon. If they cannot find you on social media, then bye-bye ang chances mo, because fans would not necessarily search you first on Google on your website. Ang una nilang point of contact is always your social media, and I think there is an opportunity for Miss Earth to really strengthen their social media presence, and not just be, not just post yung mga activities nila. They still need to, post on the glam aspect of the pageant itself. And then the second one that I would want for them to do is create one day wherein they could invite, pageant media, or even social media pages to interview the girls. And And I'm not talking yung press presentation kasi ibang aspect, ibang animal, ibang beast yung press presentation. What I really want them to think of is that, okay, kung hindi nyo gusto na magkaroon kayo ng to invest on, you know, your social media, then at least allow other social media pages to really have a time with your, you know, with your girls, connect with them, and have these social media pages do the coverage, do the social media presence for you. um, that is one of the things that you can actually start off to do in order to start building up your social media presence. And the third thing that I would do is post-coronation, mag-post sila ng immediate na updates ng photos, videos ng kanilang event. Kasi doon sila doon iba pa din kasi kapag merong live coverage from the actual pageant itself. It allows, you know, that allows real-time updates kasi doon magaling ang Binibining Pilipinas na as soon as may natatawag na set of awards, within 5, 10 minutes, 30 minutes nakapost na yun sa kanilang sa kanilang social media, sa kanilang Facebook, Instagram na accounts. So I think that's an opportunity na pwedeng habulin ng ng Miss Earth. Ayan. I hope, Lil Penny, na nasagot ko yung tanong mo. Um, Ram, no, it's Ran Aran. Lil Penny, I won't change the structure of Miss Earth because it's perfect like MI. All we need to do is upgrade the production. I think sorry, there is still a need to level it up. Um, to be more, and it's not to level it up just for the sake of leveling it up. Leveling, there is a need to level it up because there is a need to be competitive in terms of yung the way that Miss Earth does their pageant. Okay. Bandy says, my fearless forecast, Miss Earth 2022 is Colombia. The one who will upset her is Cuba. Okay. Volts Belacha, ilan po ang kukunin sa first cut? I am not yet sure kasi I've been hearing sa mga kapwa ko pageant media na it's either a top 20 or a top 16. But again, that's just chichi at this point in time. Let's just scroll na yung na mabilisan na, okay? Pageant Enthusiastic says, I hope they will give 5 titles considering ang daming magagaling ngayon na candidates. Sa akin naman, pwede din. Although, ang hirap kasing basagin nung nakaugalian na natin na Earth, Air, Fire, and Water yung mga titles. So, I don't know. Maybe let's see how ano yung naisip yung fifth title, 'di ba? Kasi ayoko naman na tourism ang ilagay kasi guys, sa totoo lang, hindi na ako sa mga pageants na may tourism sa pangalan kasi sa dami ng mga pageants na may tourism na nakakabit sa pangalan nila, nagmumukha na silang cheap. Sa totoo lang, kahit na glossy yung event nila, pero dahil ang daming tourism pageant na nagsanga-sanga-sanga, parang ayoko na siyang marinig sa Miss Earth kasi parang cringy lang ako doon sa doon sa title. Sorry. Okay, Jason Casimiro, pasilip naman ng stage ng finals. I haven't seen the stage yet. At kung meron mang may leak, hintayin natin na iba ang maglabas dahil this is my first time na magko-cover ng Miss Earth. Ayaw ka namang negative yung image or negative yung first impression ko sa kanila. Okay, nasaan na tayo? Dorothy V. Jones, I've always considered a continental Earth title to be advantageous in terms of promoting Miss Earth globally, but also the Air, Fire, Water titles are just too original to let go. Agree. Besides, ang problema kasi sa continental titles, meron na yun na kasi ang sistema ng ano ng Intercontinental, ng Miss World. So parang it's unoriginal, kumbaga. So I agree with sticking to earth, fire, and water. Air and water pala. Ayun. Sorry guys, I really have to skip yung mga ibang comments because medyo matagal na itong ating live. It's almost like 2 hours na. Lil Penny says Cuba in Australia has better body than Colombia. Lil Penny also said na Colombia reminds me of Catherine Espin. Actually, Colombia reminds me more of Gazzini and Thalia, especially Thalia. So let's move on. Gela Vlogs. Kilala ko yung girl na nagpa-pick na ayan at umalis. Huwag na nating sariwain. Huwag na nating pangalanan, Gela, ha? Mahirap na. Baka malibel tayo. Saka, chichi lang. Alam nyo ba yung stylist niya? Tinawagan ako at inaway-away. Tapos sabi niya sa akin, pag makita kita sa sa finals ng Binibining Pilipinas, humanda ka. Parang, girl, naliliit na ka sa akin. Sa tingin mo, hindi kita kaya. Wala lang, chika lang. Pero quiet ka na lang, Jella. Maria Elsa P. Pajuring. Ano pong nangyari kay Bulgaria? May negative na hanash daw. Kaloka pa. Uwi na yan. Hindi ko alam. I honestly, hindi ko siya sinubaybayan. Kasi ang sinubaybayan ko talaga is yung mga girls na sa tingin ko winnable this year. So, pasensya na kung may na-offend man ako sa sinabi kong yon. Pero I really wanted to put my energies on the girls that I really thought na made an impression with me, especially during the intelligence na round. So, doon ako nag-focus talaga. Pierre, sir, are you referring to Thalia Sodi, the queen of Latin pop? Did you see her live in the flesh? She is a superstar. Colombia co-stars will I hope Colombia co-stars will align on Tuesday. The competition is fierce. Yes, si Thalia, as in si Marimar. Si Thalia Marimar. I'm not sure kung Sodi yung ginagamit niyang apelyido ngayon. But we've all known her as Thalia, the very singular name like Selena, like Madonna, like Kylie over the years. So yes, it's the queen of Mexican telenovelas of the 90s, Thalia. Dorothy V. Jones, I heard that Sheridan vied in the national competition 3 times. That's serious about Miss Earth. She's that serious about Miss Earth. Yes, 3 beses siyang sumali ng Miss Earth din sa second try niya. Nag-first runner-up siya or Miss Earth Australia Air, something like that. Tapos bumalik siya for the third time at doon siya nanalo. So she's really very, passionate and she's very like set yung kanyang eyes on the prize. Pageant enthusiastic Netherlands, yes, agree kay Netherlands. She also won Darling of the Press previously, so may merit din na manalo siya for with the title. But again, I need to see a stronger pasarela bago ako magsabi na lalaban siya for the title, because right now I don't see the title going to Europe. But again, that's just me. Kevin Rain, you know what's amazing about these queens? Wala silang ibang pageant na gusto kundi Miss Earth lang. Like, they don't see other pageants as relevant as Miss Earth. Tito Edic, kay Korea, Cuba naman. Tito Edic, we actually already mentioned Korea and Cuba earlier on. Sila yung dalawa sa 4 kong napipilian na napupusuan for the title. Aran says, Miss Earth is Europe's #1 pageant. Mas maraming European ang nananalo sa Miss Earth kaysa sa ibang pageants. Kasi seryoso ang Europe sa Miss Earth. Tignan mo naman yung continent nila, ang linis-linis at napaka-organized. Kevin, wait lang, nawala. Oh my God. Kevin Rain, I agree with you. Ran Aran, European countries perform better in Miss Earth than any other pageant. Mas marami kasi ang environmentally aware sa kanila. So they recognize the importance of Miss Earth. Travel Junkie says, I was rooting for Palestine before, pero presentation mahina, baka di makapasok sa top 8. She's a nutrition consultant, personal trainer. Zimbabwe, baka mag-top 8, pero Q&A hashtag we'll see. Um, Jella Vlogs, what about Belarus? I actually wala siya doon sa event nung Ever Bilena, kaya hindi ko siya nasubaybayan. But let's see, kasi ang dami magaganda sa Miss Earth ngayon eh. And at this point in time, I'm not just looking at sino yung magaganda. Ang tinitignan ko talaga ngayon is sino yung makuda. Kasi I'm looking for someone who can represent the organization well. And I think yung apat na nabanggit ko, Korea, Cuba, and Colombia, Australia, sila yung nakikita ko na kahit hayaan mo silang makipag-meet and greet sa mga press, hindi ka mag-aalala na meron silang sabihin na hindi maganda, na hindi tama. So, there. How about Miss Czech Republic? She's pretty. But other than that, I don't, parang hindi pa ako na mesmerize sa kanya. Because, again, as I said, mas nag-factor sa akin yung intelligence rounds. Mas nababad actually ako doon sa YouTube na channel ng Miss Earth watching the intelligence rounds, kasi doon ako parang naka-get ng idea that these are girls na makuda, and therefore these are girls na I think would represent the Miss Earth brand well. And I will be talking siguro more on that and maybe expanding yung aking listahan in a separate vlog or a separate article. But let's see. Hopefully makatulog tayo ng maaga ngayong araw na to at magkaroon tayo ng enough time para gawin yun bukas. Ayun. JD, sana makinig na ang Miss Earth na tanggalin ang height requirements at sana i-utilize nila mga past queens nila. Pwedeng-pwede kasi mag-host kasi super makukuda at pleasing pa sa mata. Okay. Oh my God. Ramonet, Victoria, hello, good evening. Parang may problema ang organizer ng ME. It lacks artistic, aesthetical taste in production. Hindi ko mag-gets bakit ang hilig mag-outdoor event na tag-ulan naman. Again, you have to remember, Ramonet, yung binanggit ko kanina, hindi lahat ng mga activities ng Miss Earth are located in municipalities that have the infrastructure to host and to have like a hall or a coliseum or a theater where they can do these large productions. The mere fact that a lot of the girls are going at different municipalities and they make do with what they have. Yung mga sponsor na mga local government units are giving them what they can best serve. And I think yun yung kinakailangan na makita, maintindihan ng mga fans. Kasi punta ka ng probinsya, maghanap ka ng 5-star na hotel, tignan ko lang kung saan ka mapapalpad. If you're not going to Cebu City or to any other major cities here in the Philippines, I don't think you would even get a 4-star or 3-star hotel. So let's be mindful of that. Where are we now? I think marami nang nagjo-join sa chat natin. Josh Moore says, watch out for Namibia. She's the best in Africa. I agree that among the Africans, Namibia, Nigeria, and Zimbabwe are probably the three girls na could win and make top 4. I'm having a special spot for Ethiopia simply because she's so charming and very unassuming in person. Ayun. I think a lot of you have made very succinct points and intelligent points when it comes to the Miss Earth na pageant. And I really appreciate yung passion that you have for Miss Earth. And uh, I can, in as much as I want na uh, banggitin lahat kayo sa ano sa tawag ito dito sa na nasa comment section. I think I am very much happy with the fact that you are very much engaged with the Miss Earth pageant this time around. So, last thing, if I'm going to wrap it up all for our life today, the one thing that I am hoping for na mangyari is that we all find a common ground where not just the fans but the Miss Earth organization as well, where we can manage all our expectations. I am hoping that yes, there is there is a following for Miss Earth from the Filipino pageant fans, and it's expanding to other to other international na mga communities. But I am hoping that the Miss Earth also listens to the fact that there is a need for them to either beef up their glam factor, their social media presence, the overall gloss of the pageant. But I also recognize that they also need to stay true to their advocacy, to who they are as a pageant. So it's just for me a matter of balancing those two out. It's just finding the right formula where there is napagbibigyan yung fans dun sa clamor nila for glossier, better na na production and more, I don't know, glam shots, more social media presence. But I also believe that the heart of the Miss Earth organization is really in their advocacy is focused on their advocacy. Kaya nga ang tagline nila, beauties for a cause, because they are using their beauty, to highlight their causes. So, with that being in mind, hindi pwede nilang pabayaan yung beauty and glam factor kasi yun yung magli-lead ng mga mas maraming tao doon sa kanilang causes, doon sa kanilang mga advocacies. So they really need, na makinig sa fans to be mindful that the entertainment and gloss factor is there to support yung kanilang advocacy. And yung advocacy is there, to stay relevant, especially in an atmosphere where there's a lot of pageant competition nowadays. So it's just finding the right balance between the two and moving forward and leveling it up. Kasi we want naman that Miss Earth stay true to themselves, to what their core are, but at the same time package it in a very neatly made bow so that it's palatable for everyone, so that it becomes more, it becomes more international, it becomes more widespread in the international pageant community. And I think Miss Earth can find a middle ground between those two. It's just finding where they are good at and what are the weak areas that they need help on. So pwede naman na gawin na mabalanse nila yon. And I am hopeful na magawa nila yon because the relevance of the pageant is getting more and more stronger as the years go by. Kasi ngayon, as if you haven't, kung hindi nyo nasusubaybayan yung ano yung nangyayari sa Western world, there are more and more, Gen Z and millennials are clamoring for sustainable practices from their governments, from the businesses that they support, and it will trickle down to the rest of the world sooner or later. So the Miss Earth, is at the, kumbaga, nasa magandang opportunity sila to take advantage of, that clamor. So all they need to do is to balance out the need for, entertainment, because sa ngayon you need to manage both in equal measure there. And as a final note, I think that yung finals na mangyayari on Tuesday will essentially be will dictate how the fans and the community is going to move forward with the pageant. So I am hoping na sana mabigyan tayo ng magandang staging because after 2 years na online na na very very synchronous learning ang labas nung pageant. Um, they give us, the glam factor that we've wanted for a long time. Na sana this time around, mabigyan tayo ng magandang show. And I am hoping that it would be a good experience for everybody, not just for the candidates but also the fans themselves, kasi ngayon ko nararamdaman that there is a following na lumalaki, that is growing, with regards to the Miss Earth na pageant. And I am hoping that whoever they crown, whether it's Cuba, Colombia, Australia, or um, Korea, or even as someone as Zimbabwe, Palestine, and other countries, whether it's Puerto Rico or Venezuela or even the Philippines, they really need to make the most out of the voices of their candidates. Na sana mabigyan sila ng opportunities and platforms to really expand yung kanilang advocacies. And at the same time, be social media present, aside from just doing their activities, public appearances. There's also, a little bit more on the glam aspect para lang masustain naman yung need ng fans na may gloss na nangyayari. So I'm hoping na na this year would be a turnaround year for Miss Earth, na they would take the opportunities that they come their way, to better the pageant. So, I hope na sana na-enjoy nyo ang ating pa-live stream ngayon. I am hoping that on Tuesday, ma-enjoy natin yung coverage, ganyan. At lahat tayo, magkaroon ng overall na good experience with how the pageant is going to end. So there. Let me just read some final comments before we'll log off dito sa ating pa-live. And let's start uh, with Josmore. He's saying Namibia, Wales, Nepal are the best in Kodaan. Lil Penny, Miss Earth should look at the weather forecast before looking to host an outdoor event. Yari and CDB, magpasalamat tayo na tumutulong din ang local LGUs, at least mabantayan at masikaso ang mga kandidata. Kevin Ryan, malakas din sana si Miss Somalia, kaso scam yung national director niya, which is also an issue because yung national director niya ang nag-ayos yata nung Miss Planet International na hindi natuloy. So, sayang opportunity. Nasa Martes na pala ang final, so good luck, girls. Yeah, maganda daw dyan sa Okada, Manila. Yes, maganda sa Okada, Manila because I went there nung bagong open pa lang siya, and that was during Miss Universe 2016, which happened in January 2017. Maganda yung area, and I'm hoping na mas maganda siya ngayon kasi mas marami ng open na areas. There. Johnny and Carlos says, thank you so much for supporting Shayla. Love you. Thank you as well. Travel Junkie, thank you, sir. At magko-cover kayo. We will be waiting for your updates. Enjoy. Ayun. So, that's it for me, guys. I hope na sana na-enjoy ninyo yung ating talakayan ngayon. And I'm sorry dahil hindi ko nabasa lahat ng inyong mga comments. Yung mga comments na medyo hindi maganda pakinggan, so hindi ko na binasa. So I'm sorry for that. But I am hoping that moving forward, we can find ways to support the Miss Earth pageant without sounding really very antagonistic or really sounding negative towards the organization. And that we hope na we find ways to voice our opinions in a respectful manner. And if we need to call out any organization, we do it in a way na hindi tayo magmumukhang walang pinag-aralan. And I think that is, madali naman sa ating mga Pilipino yung maging marespeto dahil nasa ugali na natin yung ganon. I think Filipinos nowadays are especially I commend yung ating community dito sa Sashes and Scripts na uh, the pageant fans who follow us on YouTube, on our social media, on IG and Facebook are really very intelligent and well educated na mga fans. So I am hoping to keep on growing the community with you because nag-enjoy ako doon sa mga puro-puro ninyo na with great insights and at the same time very intelligent and very respectful way of how you deliver your thoughts and your opinions. So thank you guys for sticking with me for 2 hours, a little bit over 2 hours, and I hope na sana sa susunod na pa-live natin, maano ko na, magawan ko na ng paraan to stream it in such a way that we can make succinct points within an hour or an hour or 30 minutes at the most. Okay? So that's it from me, guys. Take care. Have a great evening and see you again soon. Bye bye, everyone.